Well, it's time now for a look at the day's top business news, starting with the economic states of Emmanuel Macron's visit to China, starting later today. Cole Stangler is here to tell us more. Cole.
Yeah, Xi, that's right. The French president trying to drum support, as you said, for a series of business deals in China. Now, French firms expected to come away with some 40 agreements covering fields like agriculture, tourism, and health. Those are all strong points of the French economy. Along with the delegation of business leaders, Macron also reportedly expected to push Beijing to open up more to foreign business. While China is currently France's second largest source of imports, Paris hopes the trip will help boost the growing share of French exports to China. Lauren Berstecker takes a closer look at the state of business ties between the two countries.
Luxury brands, sportswear, retail, and even tourism. Over the past 30 years, thousands of French businesses have attempted to crack the Chinese market. But many of these companies say they're facing an unlevel playing field.
Carrefour
has been penalized by advantages given to big Chinese retailers, whether financial or related to real estate.
In recent years, the French grocery chain has had to sell around 80% of its Chinese stores. And it's far from an isolated case. French carmaker Peugeot has seen its sales drop drastically over the past few years, from 740,000 cars sold in China in 2014 to only 270,000 in 2018.
Peugeot is not that competitive compared to Chinese brands. I drive a Chinese car. It's cheaper.
French companies looking to conquer the Chinese market also face another obstacle. They're often required to share knowledge and technology with their local counterparts.
There's a risk of losing your technology. Sometimes it's a requirement when you enter a partnership with a Chinese company. It will use that technology or even improve it.
France still retains a competitive advantage in some sectors, like aviation, and has sold hundreds of airplanes to Beijing in recent years. Yet with European constructor Airbus having opened a factory in Tianjin, China has already begun to build its own aircrafts.
Next up, some small steps towards creating the world's largest trading bloc. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, would bring together 10 Southeast Asian countries, along with powerhouses China, India, and Japan. The deal is front and center of a summit today in Thailand, where the host nation said an agreement is expected to be signed early next year. The president of South Korea underlined the countries have much to gain by working together.
We need to protect free trade from headwinds and bring contracting economies back to expansion. Finalizing the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement will not only contribute to free trade and the expansion of investment in the region, but also to investment in East Asia and mutual prosperity.
Let's take a look now at Monday's trading action. The Nikkei in Japan is closed for holiday, but gains across the major Asian indices to kick off the week. It's amid optimism about the U.S. and China finalizing a truce in their trade war. Actually going to be starting off with, we see the Asian markets here. Hang Seng in Hong Kong up over 1.4%. Gains also in the Kospi Seoul and the Shanghai Composite, again, off that optimism of U.S.-China trade talks. Now let's take a look at those European markets, which have started off the day in positive territory. As you can see here, the FTSE up about 1/3%, gains on the CAC 40 and the DAX over in Frankfurt as well. Again, hopes about a cooling off in tensions between the U.S. and China. It's after Washington signaled that licenses will be granted, quote, very shortly for U.S. firms to sell to Chinese tech giant Huawei. Now, next up, McDonald's has fired its CEO, Steve Easterbrook. That's after he had a consensual relationship with an employee, which is a violation of company rules. Easterbrook is credited with revitalizing McDonald's by redesigning stores and updating menus. He's also come under fire for his labor policies. Earlier this year, the fast food giant was hit with dozens of sexual harassment charges. McDonald's has also resisted demands to raise wages in the United States. And finally, another sign that unrest in Hong Kong could be hurting the city's economy. According to JP Morgan, foreign exchange deposits have gone up, quote, quite sharply in Singapore over the last 2 to 3 months. It says clients reportedly asked bankers and wealth managers to move their funds there. While the bank says it can't be conclusive, there's a shift underway. It's certainly a growing topic of concern. Last month, Goldman Sachs estimated for its part that Hong Kong may have lost between $3 and $4 billion in transfers to Singapore. That was between June and August. Actually, as protests continue in Hong Kong, doesn't appear like this concern is going to be going away anytime soon. investors, wealthy individuals looking to find a safe financial hub to park those assets.
Carl Stangler with that look through the international business news. Thank you very much indeed.